What is that smell? Not your house smelling like a whole zoo.
You can't do it, just put your mind to it. All you need is a little bit of faith.
Hello, and welcome back to my channel, A Little Bit of Faith, where we believe in handling one thing a day to keep the huge messes away. My name is Faith, and if you are new here, this channel is all about cleaning motivation and decorating inspiration. So, as you already know, this week's episode is going to be something entirely new. I got a request from one of my followers to please help them out with helping their home to not smell like a kennel, a zoo, or a pound. If you have pets, then this episode is for you. I am going to share with you all of my tips and tricks to keeping me and my home from smelling like pets. So get yourself a pen, a paper, a tablet, or what have you, or maybe just save this video and you can use it going forward. Okay, so tip number 1. If you are not already, you need to start washing your dog regularly. And I mean regularly. You need to find out how often your breed of dog can be washed without drying out his or her coat. If you don't know, my dog Zeus is an American Bully. So that is a pit bull and a bulldog mix. When I first got my dog, we were taking him to the vet regularly, or regularly to get him washed, to get him groomed. However, in 2 days' time, I noticed that he would smell again, and it would be a corn chip-like feet smell. And so I started researching online what that smell was, and I came across this veterinarian that gives free advice for specific dogs, and she said it is because of all the folds that sometimes American bulldogs can have that causes the smell, and that smell is yeast. It is yeast. It is in between their paws. It's sometimes in their ears. And those smells can only be combated with 2 things. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying you need to speak to your dog's veterinarian before you try any of these practices out. Please do not come for me. This is what's working for me and for my family, and I spoke to my dog's vet before we tried this out on him. So this is what they told us to do. Yeast is growing in his paws, and that's what's causing the smell. It's a bacteria. So you buy a regular dog wash, and you get women's feminine wash. Yes, you heard me correctly. You need to get a feminine wash, such as like Vagisil. And you need to get apple cider vinegar. This is what you're going to do. You're going to wash the dog with its regular shampoo, thoroughly lather them up good. And the second thing you're going to do is use the feminine wash on the dog, specifically between the paws, clean out the ears, private parts. And then lastly, you're going to rinse him off again with the apple cider vinegar. What I did was I got a separate bottle and I mixed the feminine wash and the apple cider vinegar together so that when I bathe him, I can regularly have it ready to go. When I tell you it has done wonders, it's done wonders. I can go 2 weeks. Sometimes if we're pushing it 3 weeks, if he doesn't go outside and roll around in the dirt or whatever, and he will not smell like corn chips. It is important that you make sure you handle that bacteria, and you want to use the women's feminine wash and use the apple cider vinegar. Rinse them off thoroughly and make sure you're getting in between those paws and cleaning those ears. Now, once you do that, you also need to make sure that you are washing the bedding. And what you're gonna do is use that same thing. Use vinegar to wash the dog's bedding. Put it in the wash with vinegar. I use a little bit of Dawn soap and wash it on hot, and make sure you dry it, because it doesn't make sense to wash the dog and put him back into a smelly bedding. It's only gonna make his coat dirty again. So that's my first tip. Wash the dog, wash the bedding, but be sure you are killing the bacteria which is causing the smell. The other thing I do after washing the dog and washing the bedding is I make my own dog's cologne. Now, they do sell them in the store, and I know that they sell them on Amazon, but because I know that my dog is sensitive, I found that out by washing his bedding with regular like Tide, and he got a little bit of a rash. So then that's when I switched from that and I started using the vinegar and the Dawn dish soap, and I didn't have any more problems. So I wanted to be cautious. So what I do is I make dog cologne. If you ever watch my episodes and you see me spraying anything on my sofas, it's the same thing. What is the doggy cologne? Well, you need to get 100% essential oil and mix it with hot water. Now, the key is it needs to be 100% essential oils. I looked it up online, and again, I spoke to my dog's vet, and essential oils are not harmful to the dog. The best ones to use are scents like chamomile, eucalyptus. My personal favorite is 100% like a vanilla. And I love peppermint, because those are stronger mentholated scents. And so what you want to do is get yourself a bottle, preferably a glass bottle. You need to put in warm water, fill it up, and put in a few drops to your liking, not too strong, because remember, you don't want to get the dog sneezing and allergic or whatever from any scent that you chose. But also, it mixes better. The essential oil mixes better when you put it in warm water. So I mix it up in a bottle, and once I clean the house, that is what you see me spraying on my sofas, and I use that for the dog. I spray his coat down. I put on the pads of his hands once he's washed, a little bit of 100% coconut oil so that he's not getting dry. His coat is not getting dry, and it works nicely. So wash the dog, wash the bedding, and make sure you make doggy cologne to give them a nice, fresh, clean scent. Tip number 2. Okay, so all of that is nice that you've washed the dog and the bedding, but you've got a whole house filled with fabrics. Fabrics holds smells. So everything in your house that is made of fabric is going to hold on to a scent. The problem is we can become nose blind to those scents. And so to ensure that that does not happen, you need to be washing your fabrics often. Now, I know it's not as simple as like if you have rugs all over your house, well then you're going to need to get those rugs shampooed. If you have area rugs, you can throw those in a wash. Or, I don't know, get yourself a shampooer from Walmart or something. Sofas, pillows, all of those things, your curtains, take them down, throw them in a wash. Or I like to refresh them as I go. I know we're not washing curtains every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or even every month. So refresh them with some type of fabric refreshener. Use the essential oil and water mix that we've made. You need to make sure that your fabrics are not holding scents. If you have a dog that keeps having accidents on the carpet, that carpet needs to be shampooed. Those rugs need to be washed or thrown away. You need to make sure that your pillows and whatever you can are being thrown in the wash. Now, for those of you who allow your pets on your beds, on your sofas, I hate to break it to you, as clean as you are, your sofa and your bedding smells like a dog. It's just the truth. So either you keep them off of your bedding and your sofa, or you're going to need to get them shampooed. You're going to need to bring your bedding to a laundry cleaning service or to a dry cleaner. That is the only way to keep the fabric smelling fresh. And every day when I make the bed, I also spray down the fabrics to make sure that the bedding is fresh. Now, there's nothing worse than trying to mask a smell with perfumes and scents. That does not work nicely. You need to develop a regular cleaning routine. So washing pillows, washing your bedding, shampooing your rugs, those are all things that you must do in order to keep the house from smelling like a dog. A part of that everyday cleaning routine includes vacuuming, dusting. Did you know that dogs, whether they have fur or hair, they all have dander? Dander is equivalent to dandruff. In the same way that you have to wash your bedding every week or 2 weeks, the same goes for your fabrics and your dog stuff or your whatever around your house. They release dander, and so you need to be vacuuming every single day, especially if your house is like my house. In my home, we have central air and we have central heat. So that means dog hair is going to blow throughout the house because it's blowing heat and air everywhere. That brings up another point. You've got to change your filter. You've got to regularly change your filter because the filters trap the dog hair and dust and whatever particles, and it helps you to keep it from the air. So along with that, changing your filters, you need to be dusting, you need to be vacuuming, and you need to be sweeping. Anywhere that if you keep your dog in a kennel or a cage at night or when you leave the home or whatever situation, you need to make sure that you are getting around there. Any pet fur, any hair that's blowing around, you have to pick those up because there's dander in there, dandruff, which are dead skin cells, and that smells. Another thing that the veterinarian told me holds sense, it's the saliva. You see that dog licking on that window or eating something off the floor, or my dog likes to lick my glass coffee table. I have to wash that coffee table down and those glass windows once a day because he licks the glass, and their saliva holds bacteria and that holds scents. So what I do is I go around the house with my Clorox cleanup, and for those of you that like a safer remedy for that, make your own. You can use vinegar and water and whatever else. You can Google something like that. But you've got to wipe up that saliva. You cannot leave it there. If they are chair height, my dog is the height of my dining room chair. And so sometimes he's a dribbly drooler, so it'll get on that. When you see me cleaning, even in the kitchen, that's what I'm wiping off. I'm wiping off drool and all of those things because it holds scents. So make sure that in your cleaning routine, you are vacuuming, you are sweeping, you are dusting, you are getting up pet hair, pet dander. Those things hold smells. And the saliva. That has to be a regular part of your routine. Tip number 3. You can use aids and tools around your house to help your house smell great. I do it all the time. Now, I like plugins. I love plugins and I love candles. But I know in this woke society and with all of our consciousness and health consciousness, and I applaud all of you for that, some people do not like candles and they don't like plugins because of this newfound, I haven't done the research, but I hear about toxicity or whatever. So if you are not a person that likes plugins or candle, a healthier option is you can buy, I believe they're called soy plug-in candles. Soy candles, and which is supposed to be 100% safe. Don't quote me on that, but this is what I've heard. And they cost a little more, but they do have those options at stores and they smell nice. But I love candles and I use those all the time. I don't leave them unattended because dogs will get to them and that's a dangerous situation. So make sure it's at a height with your pet Your dog can't reach. If you've got cats, then you've got other issues because they climb. But I use plugins and I use candles. If you don't want to use that, a more natural remedy that I use is I have 3 others. 1, I get myself a glass container and I have it in my kitchen. I filled it up with coffee beans, coffee grinds. So in my kitchen, when I walk by, I smell coffee sometimes. That's always nice. I use the coffee grinds to make flower arrangements, silk flower arrangements, so that always smells nice. If you're not opposed to candles, one thing I do is I fill up a glass, fill up the coffee, and I put a candle in the center of it, burn it, and then the whole, in the glass, not right in the coffee grinds. And then the house smells of coffee. And I love the smell of coffee. You can buy any scent of coffee, hazelnut, vanilla, whatever they have out there, all those different scents, you can do those things and they smell and has the house smelling so lovely, like a fresh brewed cup of coffee. Okay, that's one thing. The next thing I do is fabric sheets, dryer sheets. If you take a dryer sheet after you've cleaned up and you rub it on the arm of the chair and across the pillows and whatever, your house will smell like fresh laundry. It is beautiful. That is a quick tip that I use when I'm having company and I know that I need to have guests. We know that that's not often what I'm saying now. Anyway, you can take a dryer sheet if you rub it on fabric and the house will smell fresh and clean. The last tip is what I do all the time. So my family, we like fruit. Save your orange peelings. I take those orange peelings, I put it in a pot on the stove with cinnamon and vanilla, and I boil it. The house smells so beautiful. Apple rinds, whatever citrus you have, lemon peels, don't throw them away. Save them. Put them on the stove with cinnamon or whatever, maybe a few drops of that 100% essential oil, and your house will smell like no other. Beautiful, beautiful aroma, beautiful scent. Leave that pot on to simmer and that steam is through the air. It just smells so beautiful all through the house. That's my other tip with those kinds of scents. So if you don't like candles, you don't do plugins, then do those things. Save your citrus and boil that through the home. And I'm telling you, it's going to smell nice. Now, I will say this to you. Plugins and candles and all of those things and fabric wipes and stuff on the sofa, those things are lovely, but please do not mistake that you can use that in place of a cleaning routine. If you do not regularly clean your home and get rid of dander and dust and, dog hair, your house is still gonna smell bad. And those scents are in your clothing. You're nose blind to them. But when you come to church, to the store, or wherever you go, we can all smell it. So, if you don't want that to be you, do not replace your regular cleaning routine with plugins, candles, and aromatherapy. It will not work, sis. But that's tip number 3. Tip number 4. Okay, so I already mentioned this a little bit earlier about changing your air filters regularly. I believe that's twice a year. We change ours in the winter and when the fall is coming, we change our air filters. I don't know if your system needs it more often than that or whatever it is, but make sure you're changing your air filters. Also, if your ducts have not been cleaned, you want to get those cleaned as well, because even changing it does not help with, if you've gone a long time without cleaning those ducts out, there's always things stuck in there, and that's going to help you out. Make sure that you are dusting out those vents and stuff like that. Make sure that you're cleaning those air vent passageways thoroughly. Make sure that there's no dog hair laying in there because it's just blowing around the house. So that's another thing. If you do not have central air and central heating, and you just have regular baseboard heating, or the old school radiators, then what you want to do is, I know I've seen this on Amazon, you can get an air purifier. And I believe that they've got some really good selections on Amazon. I don't know, Walmart, you can look on, Target, or whatever you can get to, and get yourself a nice air purifier. That will absolutely help you. Cleaning the air out, make sure that stale air is not there in the home and that dog hair is not flowing or cat hair isn't flowing through the house. That is going to help you. So make sure you're cleaning your vents. I said it out already. And make sure that you get yourself an air purifier if you absolutely need to get that, stale air out in the house. Recycle. Or girlfriend, do it the old-fashioned way. Open up some doors and some windows and let that air just let her flow. Okay. Tip number 5, and this is my final tip for you all. So I mentioned earlier that I, in the beginning, used to take my dog to a groomer, but I didn't like that in 2 or 3 days, after all the money we spent, we would still have that nasty corn chip smell, that bacteria, yeast I told you about. Listen, it saves us money to clean our pets at home, but at least twice a year, maybe more than that, you still need to bring your pet to a groomer. Why? Because you've got to get their hair trimmed. Just like I explained to you before, dander is equivalent to human dandruff, the shedding of skin. You change your bed sheets because the shedding of skin creates an odor. It's the same thing for the dog. If they have an excessive amount of hair, they're going to produce more dander. You need to bring your pet to a groomer so that it can get shaved down, remove all that extra hair and stuff. Unless you bought it and you get to do yours at home and you got the equipment to shave your dog, I don't know if they shave cats or whatever. Go ahead, child, go ahead. Not here, not at my house. So the point is, the extra hair needs to be removed off of your dog. Plus, it's getting hot, and all the winter shedding does not get removed simply by brushing them. That's another thing I forgot to mention. You should be brushing your dog daily or every other day to release the dander and the extra hair. But you need to get the dog's hair shaved down, especially around the private parts, because that extra hair, when they go poopies or they step in their urine, it will hold a smell. And so you need to be sure that that is being taken care of. If you're unable to brush the dog's teeth for whatever reason, or you're not buying those dental chews for them, that's another service that they do provide. You need to be getting their teeth clean because that's also causing a smell in your home. Well, those are my tips and those are my tricks. I pride myself, as you know, in keeping a clean home, but even more than that, I like a smelly-free home. I don't even like my home to smell like food. Once I'm done cooking, I do all that I can to refresh my home to ensure that if I had a guest, that it does not have foul, smelly odors that is offensive. Remember, people, you only get one chance to make a first impression. And when you go out of your house, you may not realize it or know it, but there is a scent associated with you and your home. And we don't want to be offensive and we don't want to be unpleasant. So these are the things that I do daily and weekly to ensure that my home smells good, not just for should a guest come by, but I want to always have a space and a place that is clean and loving for me and for my family years and years to come. I hope that these tips have helped you. Leave me a comment below if I've missed something, if you need clarity on something, if you are having trouble finding those things like doggy cologne and good shampoos and air purifiers. I can help you find those things and give you some suggestions, or if there is something that I haven't already done on my channel that you would like to see, leave me a comment below and I will be sure to get back to you. I thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of A Little Bit of Faith. If you enjoy content like this, then I invite you to go ahead and join my YouTube family. Every week we create new videos to inspire you to get up and create a space for you and your family to love for years and years to come. Again, I thank you for watching, and until next time, I bid you God's grace and I bid you His peace. Bye.